Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guy Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny. And it's an interesting kind of week, right? All right. So I was looking at what stories were like the most important from the stock market from the prior week, and I stumbled upon a weekly roundup by Edward Jones that basically answers a lot of the questions. So we're going to talk about things that are important news-wise from the market cycle from like this week and where we're headed to next. I was like, this is exactly what I was looking for. But basically, when we're at near all-time highs for the stock market, right? So the question starts to be like, are we, is the stock market become disjointed from reality, or is it just saying that the economy is doing pretty well, right? And if you wanted the 30-second version of it, the economy is still doing pretty well.
Yeah,
It's like
let's. I mean,
two
yeah,
versions here.
fair.
Um, but what you're seeing here is no signs of recession, still solid growth. That we did have good data come out from the labor market, and we from the manufacturing index and the PMI index. So all pretty solid. And if we go on like a data point by data point, yeah, sure, unemployment ticked up mildly from 4.1 to 4.2%, but it's still well below the 5.77% historical backdrop there or baseline. That we have solid growth in the U.S. economy, and that this despite like the worry about maybe a little bit of political turmoil, that's probably the most warning thing I guess facing the market right now as far as things risks we can see. We're still doing relatively well. GDP, gross domestic product growth, is on a solid upward trend here, right? We're continuing the revisions upward from the Federal Reserve data, which is a good trend to be on, right?
Real quick, for
Yeah.
for those of you who are in TLT, like I'm in TLT, the the unemployment date. If there's that video that I looked at on when you get monster returns for TLT, like when it doubles, what we were looking for is a zero point 0.5 jump, which is definitely probably not going to happen. And this will be the first time in the history of the stock market that the SOM rule has not worked. Fun fact.
Yeah, absolutely fun fact. So, this is kind of, I would just brief highlights here, but U.S. consumer still very, very strong. I mean, every time I'm in line at Chick-fil-A, I'm reminding myself that the consumer is strong. Okay,
Yeah.
there has definitely been a split in the consumer where those median and upper households are still doing very well because on paper their wealth has gone up significantly over the last couple of years. But when you even look at the lower ends of like the social ladder here in the United States, still a significant improvement because of wages, right? So this is the blue line here is actually wage growth, and then if you look at inflation here, inflation has cooled down a lot, but wage growth has actually remained relatively elevated, and particularly a lot of those gains have been on like kind of people that are on the lower economic kind of rungs, if you will. So they're still able to sustain their life and continue spending money out there. Labor market's still relatively strong. We talked about this, that 4.1 to 4.2%, but still well below the historical average here. This orange line is historical, unemployment rate, and we're still well below that. So pretty solid labor market.
I love that chart. Remember,
Yeah,
I did that video on it where if it does tick to 4 or 5, or when you have that increase over time, it has never not jumped. So,
yeah,
and once again,
yeah,
this is a very unique time. There's a lot of
yeah.
firsts in the last 5 years. So,
Well, yeah, but it has been a very unique market cycle because of the fact of what precipitated all this is that, we had this global pandemic where we shut down everything, we printed money like crazy. So it is very much different from a typical boom and bust cycle of an economy. So
mhm.
I get that why this one's breaking all the rules and it's continuing to break all the rules. Services sector is still coming in hot. We talked a little bit about this in the last inflationary data from the PCE, and this sector really hasn't taken a step back at all. They're continuing to grow services. Services is just like cranking along. There's nothing you could do to stop it right now. Which is kind of crazy that they're cutting rates, but the services sector has barely responded at all. So, and then this
See,
is manufacturing. Yeah,
yeah.
pretty good.
Aren't they saying that manufacturing is going to be the next boom, or no,
So,
or
it's
possible?
an interesting question. Let me just tie this one. This will tie in here, but this is the economic worry with like politics. As you can see, it kind of spiked all of a sudden here in after the election, and that really
Tariffs.
ties in with the manufacturing boom. Is that a there's with all these threats of tariffs, whether or not there'll be onshoring of production back to the U.S. Certainly a lot of unease and uncertainty there, and that this may precipitate a significant manufacturing boom again in the United States. It's possible. It's a longer term kind of thought process there. The short term, it's bound to be a lot of disruption and increasing price pressures, but over the long run, it may result in a lot more onshoring of production activities.
Isn't that policy uncertainty mainly just due to tariffs? Because we have
Yeah,
no idea how that. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, exactly. Trade war basically, and this is their take is they use pullbacks as opportunities, which is how I feel too. I'm continuing to dollar cost average and invest every single month. Don't get me wrong, if we see a significant stock market pullback, which it doesn't look like there's one on the horizon right now, I would increase my percentage of my income that I'm allocating towards long-term investments. But for the short term, I'm just going to keep on chugging as the way I am. I don't see any reason to do anything crazy and go all cash or sell everything and
But you
move
know
to
who
the
does?
island. Jeffrey Epstein.
Warren Buffett.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Warren Buffett is the exact opposite of this entire article. 100%. He is like,
True.
nope. He made the most selling. We did a video on that last week.
Yeah,
Most selling in like his firm's history. Most cash flows by percentage in his firm's history.
exactly. True. I, I'm just a stupid guy on the internet, okay? But I do know that classic saying about more is lost due to timing the market than just staying in the market, basically.
True. Daddy Buffett. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Catch you next one.